Hey, we're live. It's Sunday Songwriter Spotlight. We're the Snarky Sisters. I'm Diana.
And I'm Lisa.
And our guest today is fabulous Marshall Keith. Da-da-da-da. Woohoo! This will be fun.
Loud. Your guitar
what?
is loud. Your
is it too loud?
Very loud, yeah. I could turn my headphones down, I guess.
I'm only playing the guitar for this one song.
Okay.
And here's our song, everybody. It's the Sunday Songwriter Spotlight with the Snarky Sisters, live at noon. We're on time. Right here on our Facebook page. With our friends we will commune, because we're communists. Featuring the exceptional Marshall Keith and some of his fabulous tunes.
Mr. Keith is a legend, a creative and musical marvel. We think that he's a treasure, and no, we're not impartial.
Because we like him, he's such a good guy.
That's right.
Thanks.
Welcome to the show, the indomitable Keith Marshall.
Indomitable.
Indomitable.
Right.
Indomitable.
Whoops. Gesundheit.
How many syllables are in indomitable?
Indominate.
Indomitable.
At least 9.
At least 9. Welcome, Marshall Keith. We got to toast you.
Ooh.
Welcome to the Sunday Songwriter Spotlight.
What are you drinking there,
Cheers.
Lisa? Cheers.
I guess a Marshall
Clank.
Mimosa. How's that?
Marshall Mimosa's good. I've got an enjoyable Slickee Boyable This Party Sucks Deluxe Fizz Special.
Ooh.
How about that? Cheers.
Gosh, I feel boring.
Yeah,
Cheers.
I was going to drink something fizzy, but, the mic is so close to my mouth that when I'm burping, between verses.
Oh, the effervescence.
Lisa and I have been having a problem with growling stomachs lately.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I get that for sure.
If you hear it, do not pretend that you're not hearing it. So, Marshall Keith is best known for being a virtuoso guitarist and founding member, along with Kim Kane, of the ought-to-be legendary Slickee Boys, a actual legendary DC area band which dominated the punk new wave scene in the 70s and 80s and which holds the record for the most performances at the 930 Club, 81 shows. The band shared the stage with, among many others, U2, the Kinks, the Ramones, Minor Threat, Bad Brains, the Cramps, and the Pretenders. The Slickees disbanded in 1991, and Keith has been focusing on his songwriting and recording, releasing material since then, including 2 albums, On and Roadside Shrine. Marshall is working on several projects, and we hope he will divulge them to us. For those of you who don't know the Slickees, they were a DC area band formed in 75 or 76 and released its first EP in 76. In 83, the band's video for the song When I Go to the Beach placed second in MTV's Basement Tapes competition. They played for around 16 years until 1991 with quite a few reunion gigs in the ensuing years. I don't know if another reunion is planned anytime soon. Is there one, Marshall?
No.
Okay. You're done?
We did reunions for 20 years. And so we were a band for 15, then we did 20 years of reunions. And then just that fast tempo, especially me on guitar and Kim Kane on guitar, we'd have to practice 3 months just to get the Slickee Boys set down, just to get our muscles back up. And it just became so hard to do physically, just so hard for us to do that. For me, it was a choice. I could, today I'm sitting in a chair playing guitar. I could do a Slickee Boys show like that probably, but not.
No, that would be sad.
Yeah, that would be very sad. And I didn't want it to get sad. Nobody else did either. I think we were really losing steam. And I think our last show was actually 10 years ago, July 3rd. This July 3rd, it'll be 10 years ago, was our last show.
Wow. It seems like it was only yesterday. I think
Yeah.
there are still a lot of people who really would love to see a reunion. But they'd all be going in their wheelchairs and walkers too, so maybe
That's right.
maybe not a good. And they're all of your acrobatics too.
Yeah.
You can't do a show just standing still, right?
Yeah, and even before, that last show 10 years, like, and say in 2001, I remember doing a little jump. You're just hopping up in the air with your guitar and landing, and and I did something to my hip, and we've only been playing for 10 minutes.
Aw, have you ever seen the video of poor Captain Sensible falling into the audience?
No.
Yeah, bad. Wasn't too long ago, but they're playing. They're still playing, which is good. So the first question is, what have you been doing for the past 14 months?
I've been actually really busy, just doing a lot of recording with GarageBand. I used to multi-track on tape recorders, just when I was a kid, I had a stereo tape recorder and I'd bounce tracks back and forth with a little mixer. But so just ever since then, that's my main thing I've been doing, is just multi-tracking stuff at home. And, there's good things about it. There's bad things about it. One thing is that it sounds so good to get a nice big sound. Oh, I got this great big orchestral sound all by myself. It's great. But the trouble is, you're sort of stuck with that big sound once you get it. It's tricky to pull back from that and, have the big part be in the big sections and then pull back to just a couple of parts. But these days, the technology is just so nice with GarageBand. It's just so easy that I just love it. And I don't sweat it too much about, using real nice microphone interfaces or things like that, just because there's just so much good stuff in it. But I'll tell you, I'm really looking forward to playing with real people, which I'm going to be doing soon, I'm sure. But I might not be playing live. Who knows? It could be another 6 months before I play live. I'm not sure. I do have a lot of projects I'm working on. One is with some just guys, I grew up with in the DC scene. One guy from Raz, one guy from Urban Verbs. I don't know if you know Danny Frankel, the drummer.
Sure. Yeah.
He's out he just had some free studio time. So he's out in some desert out near California or something. And they had like real spotty internet connections. So we tried to send him files and he got them eventually, but it took him like 2 hours to download our files and then, 2 hours to send the stuff back. But yeah,
you've been, and was Danny, I mean, who is playing what on this? This is a project you're working on. Is the aim to put out a recording, or is it to play live, or both?
To put out a recording, and we're not sure about playing live. We're all scattered all over the country, so it's mainly just a project, and it really just sort of, the genesis of it was our singer Nikki Butane. He was just going through some real stuff, real bad stuff in his life, just like we all do, and you really get inspired to write or have an outlet for it somehow. Just sort of explain it, try to tell the story of what you're going through or whatever. So, we were really happy to just, help them out. And then it really became fun. And we did get together a few times before the pandemic and really work some stuff out. But
well, how did you work that out with it's Roddy Franz and Abad, right? One of my favorite people, Abad. Hello, Abad, if you're watching.
And he likes to go by Nikki Butane now.
Right.
For
Nikki.
Yeah.
And so how do you work out the acrobatics between guitar acrobatics mostly, I'm thinking, between you and Abad? I mean, that's two monster guitarists playing with each other.
It really just worked out just, man, we just had the best time working with each other. It was, basically one of us would come up with an idea and go with it. The other person would play along with it. And then a lot of times the other person would say, oh, well, how about if we do this for a bridge, and just kind of went like that. I did a lot of keyboard playing too. So there's a fair amount of things where I'm playing keyboard and Abad is playing guitar.
That is so cool. Well, I know a lot of people can't wait to hear. Do you have a name or a working name?
Flame Proof Mascara.
What? Proof mascara?
Flame.
Oh, flame proof mascara. Nothing like burning hair to really spice things up. Well, let's start. Do you want us to play a Slickees video, or do you want to play a tune first?
Yeah, you can do maybe I should play a couple of songs first, because people really love the Slickee Boys. Just me doing my, songs of woe.
They'll love you. Now, you've been playing solo for a long time, right? Like more than 10.
I started doing it around 2000, and my main thing was baritone guitar, which I split into a guitar amp and a bass amp, and sort of got a sound sort of like the Ramones, like rhythm guitar playing along with the bass, just a lot of just downbeat stuff like that. But I really loved it, but after a while I just got tired of the same sound all the time. And so over the last year I've been sort of working on just doing a set just with guitar, regular guitar.
Cool. All right. Well, why don't you tell us what it's called and go to it?
This is the song from my first real CD called Roadside Shrine. And I'm just gonna, I'm having trouble with my tempos because they're all over the place. Yeah, this is a lot slower than I think the song actually goes, but okay, let's see here. Crumpled by the side of the road when you poke me with a stick. You awoke me and spoke to me with a brick upside my head. I was almost dead. Now I know my place is in your face. And I live for you. And I know there's not a thing I gotta do. But do you think I could peek under your veil? Well, you could show me how to lift this mist, this veil of black. I wanna make a wicked round. I want a chance at the fat stack just out back. I want a souped up custom Cadillac. And this once will do it my way. Shoved out of a moving car. Well, that's on par with the rest of my life. This is just a slice from a dirty knife right in my back. Turning black down in a well with a nasty smell. But that's okay, 'cause I know, yeah, I know I lived for you. And there's not a thing that you can do. But do you think I could peek a day old veil where you could show me how to lift this veil of black. I wanna make a wicked round. I want a chance at the fat stack just out back. I want a souped up custom Cadillac. And this once will do it my way. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
I love that first line. That's a really good line.
Speaking of songwriters, I just wanted to give a shout out to Mark Noon of the Slickee Boys. Just some of the lyrics he wrote just like slayed me, even back in the day. I always loved this one song starts out, there you were, a threshold undarkened, had enough adventures and bargains. And I was like, man, just rhyming darkened with bargains. That's a real nice rhyming stretch.
Yeah, Mark, he was on our show several months ago. We all wore fedoras. Remember, Diana?
Yes.
Yeah, that was great.
You don't like Marvel, Impartial, and Marshall? Just saying.
Yeah, those, yeah.
Brilliant.
You can use that for your promos, Marshall.
I'm sure he will.
I'm gonna play a slow one now, and I bring up Mark just because we really started rolling along when he was just doing a whole lot of songwriting. I was always writing little stuff more intricate and with moving parts and stuff. Mark was really good with, okay, Kim, you play this. And Marshall, you play this. And we just put it together. Boom, we got a song.
Yep, but always danceable.
I always liked, doing two parts that were moving in contrary motion or, counterpoint, just complicated, almost classical stuff. One of my favorite things I wrote for the Slickee Boys was this riff. I can't play it anymore. One's going, the other one's going.
Medieval counterpoint, punk medieval counterpoint.
Yeah. But anyway, mainly I write when I'm disturbed about something, sad about something. So I have a lot of sad songs. And a lot of times if I'm, putting together a set to play live, it's hard because I have so many slow ballads that are just weepy, cry over your beer songs that I'm just, trying to put a few lively songs in there just so it's not, completely depressing. Anyway, this is one of those sort of sad songs. Burn your ears, then avoid your eyes. On the slide, passers by, You could disappear, lifted way up high on a beam of light. Try to run your life, can't do nothing right on your own. Crawling home, you could disappear, lifted way up high on a beam of light. But matter and light are mixed up tonight, and gravity's pull got hold of your soul. You could disappear, lifted way up high on a beam of light. But matter and light are mixed up tonight, and they'll always be mixed up in me. When matter and light are mixed up just right, they start something new. It happens with you. It happens with you. Let's start something new. Something new. Something new. Something Thanks.
Gorgeous. That was just gorgeous.
So you want to do some Slickee Boys videos now?
Sure, yeah.
Well-
Before we do, Lisa, why don't you read some comments? We've got some friends watching. Yay.
Yeah. I just have to say that was beautiful. Really, Marshall.
Oh, thanks
my
a lot.
God. I know, Diana, you're crying, aren't you?
I'm on the verge of it, so stop, please.
Oh.
Yeah, I got a couple of ones that I'm like, this is really going to get them crying.
Yeah, that's one of them for sure. So we've got Magda. Hey, she says we can still boogie till we puke. All right. Okay. Abad. Hey guys, so nice to see ya. Hey, Debbie Smith. Did not know they hold the record for most performances for the beloved 930. Let's see. One man, one guitar, and the music just pours out. Rocket, my talented friend. Aw, that's Abad.
That's a bod.
Your friend Dan Go Marsh. Oh, Robbie White says, ask Marshall how he came up with Escalator 66.
Oh,
I know the answer to that one.
yeah, you must have been listening to the show. Yeah, we were trying to do a parody of a heavy metal song. So there was Highway to Hell by AC/DC, and then there was Stairway to Heaven by, um, Led Zeppelin. And so we were going to do Escalator to Purgatory, but I stole the bass line from, remember the show Route 66?
Sure. Get your kicks. Oh, yeah.
And the bass line was going,
yep.
So I stole that bass line, so it became Escalator 66. And then Mark had no idea what it was about, and he just took Escalator 66 and wrote a song from that.
Fabulous. Lisa, why don't you set up the first video? Want to do that?
What do you guys want to see first? What, Here to Stay?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Just one second. You can talk. Here we go. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment, momentarily.
Blah, 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 blah. Well, I know what your first instrument was. Tell us what it was.
Bass. Oh, clarinet.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you still have your clarinet?
No, and I bought a real cheap one, I don't know, 20 years ago, and I don't know what happened to that one either.
Okay, can you see it?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have the right one? Here to Stay? Okay. Okay, 1 second. Here we go.
Dan Kolensky on drums. Don Chumbley on bass. That's Kim Kane playing rhythm guitar. And Marshall's way in the back there, to the left of Mark Noon, about ready to do a double backwards flip. Robbie says he filmed this at the University of Maryland in 1984.
Yeah, and there's a lot of friends. You can see friends in the audience. I think that Dan put this up, and he put a few songs up from this show that Robbie videotaped.
Jim Moon says, great to see you, Marshall. Where's your Slickee Boys mask? Bobby Spear loves Here to Stay, says Renee. And Debbie Smith says, I'll call you on the phone when I get back from the beach. Robbie says he thinks Michael Marriott's in the crowd. I probably am too.
All right. Awesome. Woo!
Yeah. Probably
Yeah.
opening for the Ramones or something. What was the nicest group you ever opened for? The nicest people, and who are the not nicest people?
Usually, there was a few times back in the 80s where groups would lock the dressing room,
That
with all your
happened.
stuff in
Yeah.
it so that
Yeah.
they could, be, doing whatever they needed to prepare for the show. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was annoying. But when we opened for U2 at the Bayou, we always had a problem with the Bayou, with the management of the Bayou, and it was,
With their
I mean,
guards.
yeah, they had a rough time because they have to guard the club, and there's just pandemonium there. There was just people getting drunk and out of control. So I understand, but yeah, U2 was really nice, and they were like just saying, sorry they're treating you so crappy.
Yeah. Sorry. Why don't you play another song for us?
All right, this one is just we're getting to that age where we lose a lot of people, so that's what this one's about. Solid gold, my long lost friend, till we meet again. Solid gold, it never dulls, never to grow old. Boarded up lighthouse inside, closed now. Solid gold, my long lost friend, never seen again. Solid gold until the end. Time's sweet revenge, patched up lighthouse is my home now.
Whoa. What was that? Was that Beethoven that you
Yeah,
were playing there?
that was Beethoven.
Yeah, that was very nice. Did you arrange that yourself? You never
Yeah.
see any Beethoven for guitar music. That was very nice.
Oh, thanks. Okay, I'm just going to keep with the same mood. This next one I wrote in the middle of the summer, like now when it's like above 90 degrees outside. Everybody's staying inside. If you go outside, there's nobody out there. You just see air conditioners, and you hear them humming. And so the lyrics to this song, I just repeat it twice, are, let me see. I can't remember the lyrics. I'm just going to have to start playing it, but there's hardly any lyrics.
I know. It's
anyway.
like when you play it, the lyrics come right into your head.
Yeah.
Yep.
We hide inside. Day is night. No one is outside. They prefer to hide. We hide inside. Day is night. No one is outside. They prefer to hide.
I love that. I love that. It should be it sounds like a carnival music from like Island of Lost Souls, right?
Oh yeah.
Carnival of Lost Souls.
It does.
Spooky carnival music. That was beautiful. Love that. Really nice.
Thanks a lot.
When you put out, you're working on your own CD, right? Besides
Yeah.
the project, and how are you going to release it? Because I have problems thinking about that, and I think everyone does in this year. Because you were saying you can't release a CD easily. You had problems with manufacturing, and
Yeah.
what do you do?
I'm just gonna wait sort of until I get a little bit past this project to really think about it. But it's been finished since the end of March. But I might just put it up on Bandcamp would be the quick thing to do. Just advertise it on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. But yeah,
Which, by the way, for people who are watching and everyone who's watching, if you can please share, that helps the Matrix a lot. And go to Bandcamp and look up Marshall there, and you can get his two CDs, Roadside Shrine and On. And I love the photograph on the cover of Roadside Shrine. It's such a great photo. Yeah.
We have a few more comments, Diana. Robbie says, ask Marshall what is the favorite song he has written, please.
Wow, that's a lot of times it's the latest thing I've written. So the last song I'm going to do 2 songs from now is called East St. Jins.
Ooh.
And I was having a dream about a hospital that was called St. Virginia's. So I was like, is there a St. Virginia? That's really strange. Why am I dreaming? So I looked it up, and there in the plague in Italy, there was a woman who would take in. She was like a nurse, and she would take in all these patients off the street, the poor peasants and homeless people and everything, and also, care for them too. And she was Virginian. She got sainted for doing that, I guess. But the song has nothing to do with that. It's just I like East St. John's for some reason. I was like, yeah, that's got to be the title of a song. I'm going to write a song, with that title.
Okay, so that was Robbie's question. We also have Renee asking about Bobby Spear wants you to play the theme from Exodus. Pretty please.
Yeah, I can show you one. Let me see. That's the kind of thing I was doing on the. Wait, let me just. Can't even hardly remember it, but that was my main thing, with the little triplet things. Yeah.
Good.
Well, TV themes and movie themes influence you a lot, right? You take a lot from them.
And our song, "The Brain That Refused to Die," Kim had the riff. And so everybody was like, yeah, that's a good riff. It sounds like the Cramps. So, of course, we had to, do a Cramps kind of a thing. They had just done Human Fly. But around that time period, late 60s into the, all of the 70s, the only entertainment was for me was late night, the late movies on TV. And so there was The Brain That Refused to Die, which is a guy keeps his girlfriend's head alive in a vat.
I love that. Also known as The Head That Wouldn't Die.
Yeah, and so
one of my favorite movies.
He goes around to strip joints to find bodies for his, and so but also like The Mummy, and use a lot of things in the. So I just wrote down a whole bunch of stuff, whatever I could think of, and gave it to Mark, and then he just put it together and rhymed everything. My big contribution musically for that was the voodoo chorus.
Excellent. Indispensable part.
Yeah.
And in the video that Lisa just played, there was the theme that goes through that is the the snake charmer theme from cartoons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, why don't you play another song for us?
Okay, this is just a song just about when you get really nostalgic about times. I guess I'm a fairly moody person. Some people would say very moody. Most people in public see the nice, friendly me, but man, I get some dark times, sad, angry, just really bad places. But ever since I was a little kid, I was 10 years old, and we had moved up from Kentucky when I was 7. So I was looking back, those days back, and we lived in the city in Louisville, so it was like an urban setting. And Rockville, when we moved there, was more of a rural kind of a place. So I missed the action of the city and everything. It was really happening in Louisville. So even at the age of 10, I was like looking back, those good old days when I was 7. But so this is basically a song about nostalgia. If I can remember how it goes. Okay, here we go. Some days I've known when the simmers turn down low, when all the tales are told, I'll watch the blue flame turn to gold. Those days like that, I wish forever they could last. I'll watch the minutes as they pass. I'll watch the days go by too fast. Some years were good. I was behaving like I should. Please look beyond the things I lack. I might get those good things back. It just gets to me. Time feels like such a messed up, crazy tragedy. To you, straight from me. Hope you fill all your days up with serenity. It just gets to me. Time feels like such a messed up, crazy tragedy. To you, straight from me. Hope you fill all your days up with serenity.
Oh, another wistful, sad
Yeah,
song.
that's kind of what I do.
It's very different from the Slickee Boys. Did the Slickee Boys have any sad songs? No.
Kim Kane wrote this real nice rhythm thing. It was another thing that just he was playing it at practice, and I jumped on it. Also, it was in waltz time.
Yeah.
So,
Did people? Did anyone waltz to it? Just asking.
yeah, there were
Yeah. Oh,
actually.
good.
Yeah.
Cool. That's very cool. Hey, Lisa, can you cue up God Tell Me Why, and maybe Marshall, we could go over maybe 5 minutes if you can.
Yeah, sure.
And I wanted to say that Brian Horowitz wrote he missed the first 30 minutes. Can you play everything he missed? Would you do that for him? You do that for him. And
Yeah.
Robbie White wants to ask you if you ever go to Buckystown, Maryland to see your cousin Delmarva, who is in the Wank Tones, right?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, actually, I tune pianos all around that area now, actually. So who knew that, the Wank Tones would come back to Buckystown.
That's very sweet. Oh boy. Oh, there it is. I wanted everyone who doesn't know the Slickee Boys to see some video with you actually, not way over on the other side of the camera.
Oh, okay.
So.
All right. Can you hear this? Hang on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great tuxedo jacket. Mr. Mark Noon. Another animal. That's good. Come on, go to the guitarist. Okay. That was a good jump there, Marshall. That's hard to do too.
The thing I remember about the making that video was, they were telling us, you've got to put on makeup because this is like, you know, a TV screen. So, you know, you're going to look all washed out unless you. So we put on all this makeup, and everybody sort of had like supermodel eyebrows. And that's whenever I see that video, I always laugh. Just
We'll go watch it again. You know, the Slickee Boys and the Raz, I always thought, and I think everyone always thought that you guys were going to go on and become like super famous superstar band. Did you want that to happen, or are you disappointed it didn't happen, or would you rather?
Yeah, I think we were all a little, you know, disappointed that. I mean, and for Raz too, you know, in. Man, but, you know, there's always just, you know, things have to work out just right for that to happen, you know, and really, we would have needed everybody to not have day jobs, you know, so that we could really do extensive touring. That would have made a big difference. But we had a lot of members quitting too, so we lost a lot of momentum with somebody quits, and you have to, you know, practice a lot to get back up to speed. So, but you know, the thing is, we just had so much fun doing it, though, that really, you know, it's really nothing to complain about. You know, I don't think we would have had any more fun. You know, playing in bigger places. You know, it was really fun to open for some big bands. We opened for the Pretenders too, and just a lot of really good people. And then just the people who opened for us. It was just awesome. So much to be exposed to just a real huge variety of music. And you know, we used to do it back in the day. A lot of you know, punk bands playing with rockabilly bands, and you know, there'd be Tex Rabinowitz, Slickee Boys, the Insect Surfers, and Black Market Baby. You know, and it was just so nice to have this big, wide variety of music. I just loved that back in the day.
Yeah. Do you remember the time we opened for you at the Wax Museum, and it sold out? Like, it was, that was a really amazing crowd. That's fabulous.
And that's just another one of those things that was such a great club, and it was way over in a place where there wasn't much going on, so that people could just kind of go crazy there and stuff. And man, it only lasted a couple of years, but and they closed because they weren't making enough money.
Yep, and there were also those artists.
Like, if you're breaking even, that's good enough. Come
on. Exactly. Well, you've got one or two more songs for us. You want to play one now?
Just one more song.
Okay, great.
And this is that East St. John's song I was talking
right.
about. All right. Your evil things and the power they bring. You said I'm gonna go easy on you, but you belong to me. I boo-hoo-hoo. I was the last in the queue, at the bottom of your list. No way to break through. Fell off the track. There's a monkey on my back. Someone's always wanting something. I got nothing but black. Your inside's out so wide. Are you trying to hide? Your path seems narrow, but it's really light years wide. Da-da-da-da. Stayed up all night and continued to drink. Written all across my heart in indelible ink. This one will never know love, never have peace, nothing but misery, a social disease. Your insides out so wide, are you trying to hide? Your path seems narrow, but it's really light years wide.
Woo! That was great. These songs are so good, Marshall. They really are. You're so talented. And your guitar playing is magnificent, too. I always loved how you play guitar and came up with such inventive licks. And, yeah, really just wonderful, keep in your head little pieces of music. Really beautiful.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Really appreciate it.
I like
Anything?
I like the way you use your voice as well. I think I love the way you could flip up into a falsetto so easily. You know, just have a lovely. You have a nice range vocally.
Yeah, ever since the Kinks and I was a lonely soul. I had nobody to. Woo, all those falsetto and the Kinks. Ever since that, I've just been a thing I just have to do.
You do it really well.
Thanks a lot.
When you go.
Oh yeah.
Glendora.
Yeah.
Glendora. When I was growing up, I spent a few years growing up in upstate New York, and there was a children's TV host called Glendora, and she wore silver Martian suit or Venusian suit.
Wow.
And that was my first Glendora. Yeah.
Wow.
Cool. I was going to ask you, do you have any funny, like, worst gig ever or best gig ever stories? Worst gig is
man,
best.
there was just, there's a lot of stuff where, we were just like rock band guys, and you get into the group, think, oh, chicks, yeah, chicks, and really just, besides just being like immature, because I was a teenager, and then a few years went by, and then I was in the Slickee Boys. So I just continued to be a teenager till I was 40,
Of course.
And, but I remember one time we were playing in Minneapolis, long drive. We played in a couple places, and then we finally got to Minneapolis. And there was like a punk rock looking girl walking down the street. So we were like yelling out the window at her and stuff, just so obnoxious, looking back on it, when we were doing it, we just weren't thinking. And then,
going like, hey, Sheena, are you a punk rocker?
But then a few hours later, it turned out she was a woman who was interviewing us for a radio show. And so we go up and we meet her, and she said, oh man, there was these jerks out on the street who were like yelling at me.
Did you tell her it was you? No.
I don't remember. I think we just looked bashful and,
Do you think she knew it was you? Yes, she knew it was you.
He's probably, yeah. But yeah, I mean, there was, and it's just, there's a lot of bad stuff that happens to women anywhere all over the place. But, luckily, we didn't do too much bad stuff, that stuck out because that was obviously just so wrong. And, after that, I think, if any of us started acting that way, we would try to reel the person in who was yelling out the window or whatever.
Ah, good boys. Good boys. Well, Lisa, have you got anything to say, to ask?
Well, we do have another video if you want to do one more. Do we have time?
Do you want us to play the Boppy video?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
And then
this is just something I've been doing lately is just, multi-tracking song. Just whatever pops into my head, I turn it into a song, whether it's going to be something I would perform or just a theme for some imaginary TV show or something. So that's what this thing is that you're going to see.
What's it called?
Boppy.
Okay. Wow, I loved that. That was so cool.
Yeah,
That was very cool.
I really like just that's what I've been doing during the pandemic is just, if I come up with a little ditty or something that's not going to be an actual group song or something, I just roll with it anyway, just because, I can.
It's a theme song for the new CSI San Francisco 1949 or whatever,
Yeah.
It's perfect. It's really good.
So how did you do that? Where did you do that? Like, did you have a bunch of friends help you with that, or did you do most of it yourself?
No, I did it all myself.
Wow.
And I just, search for public domain, old movies.
Wow.
And there's just a ton of stuff out there these days that you can find a lot of stock footage and stuff.
Now we know your secrets. All right.
Very, very cool. I love it. Well, I think it's time to say goodbye. Marshall, stay on with us after we go off live. But thank you, everyone, for watching and for sharing. And go to it's not Reverb Nation. It's Bandcamp.
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 But
Bandcamp.
we have a couple more comments though. Bruce Walker says, ditto Diana's comments on your riffs. You played some of my all-time favorite solos, and they didn't sound like anybody else's. So
that's true. Yep,
Yeah.
that's really true. Yeah, that's what made everything so special. Yep.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. This has been a great show. A lot of people watching today. And we didn't get to everybody, but thank you so much for all of our listeners. And thank you, Marshall Keith. You were great.
Woohoo.
You were grand.
Thanks. It's great hearing from everybody.
I'm going to sign off on Facebook. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.